Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Smash Controllers podcast. Today, we're here with Kaleeb of Shinobi Craft Masters. Give it up for Kaleeb, everybody. What's going on, homie? How you doing today?
Chilling.
I hear that. I hear that. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. Tell me about Shinobi Craft Master. Where did it come from?
Where did it come from? I guess that's a long story, but I'll tell you a little bit just so I don't, try to get too off topic. So basically, I was in a music group called Kudo Shinobi,
Mm-hmm.
and then I always had a love for ninja flicks, anime, and stuff like that. So we kind of started that because we wanted something other than the music we was hearing now. So I try to give this like 90s, old school 90s hip hop type of vibe.
Uh,
But then eventually after that, over time, trial and error with that, we kind of moved into the having merch, right? So
mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, cool. I'll make a merch shirt of the brand, and then that ended up doing pretty good as far as like people, wanting to represent with the brand. So I was
Okay.
like, all right, cool. And then eventually, long story short, it just turned into like, let me see what else I can produce. I'm an artist at heart, so I was like, let me see what else I can create. And eventually, like, it literally just, took into like different designs. But as far as the remnants of where the name came from, Shinobi, Craft Master, it just means becoming a master of your craft. I
Okay.
think, yeah, over time, I was doing other things and trying to be like a craftsman and
Mm-hmm.
trying to like see what I'm good at.
Yeah.
But I figured out that sometimes you're good at a lot of things. You just have to actually put in the time. So, and it surprised me that, actually all the stuff that I was trying to do, I actually was pretty good in it. So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like took that essence of like, just being a craftsman and just like staying focused and mastering something.
Yeah.
So that's where the name, I guess, kind of came from.
Got in your 10,000 hours, I'm guessing. Is that what it is? 10,000 hours to become a master at something or professional?
So I'm not too sure.
It is today.
Nah, I'm not too sure, but honestly, I would say years in the making, man, years in the
Mhm.
making.
I see. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say you're heavily influenced by it, but I see a lot of like I have the shirt on now. That's the Drunken Master shirt, which is beautiful and it feels amazing. Like, oh my god, like it's everybody has like a they have a wardrobe, and in that wardrobe, you have a go-to shirt that just feel they just kind of hit. This might have moved up to like top three, if not like top two. I just gotta wear it a little. I gotta actually wear it out the house. It might move to number one for real. But I say
Appreciate
that.
it.
Oh, no problem. I say that to say, are you influenced kung fu action movies, action heroes and such? Because I noticed the Drunken Master one, but I also noticed like the Jet Li one, and you made a post that had like Tony Jaa and other like karate masters in it as and
So
whatnot.
yeah, Michael J. White, you were saying it?
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, man. I guess that kind of goes into the where the whole name of the Shinobi
Mm-hmm.
and what was my intention for bringing the brand to where it is
Mm-hmm.
today. I grew up watching a bunch of kung fu flicks, man. Honestly, like my dad, he's from New York, and
Uh,
his family's from Brooklyn, New York, and stuff like that. So they will always get like the kung fu flicks, always
mm-hmm.
shipping the bootlegs to the to my house in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I can remember, I was small, just watching Bruce Lee, flicks, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Tony Jaa, Michael J. White. Michael J. White, he came a little when I was a little older,
Yeah.
but original three for sure when I was young was Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Like, yeah, those dudes are like icons to me, man. Like,
Yeah.
you don't understand. Honestly, Jackie Chan, I would say this, Jackie Chan is probably the reason I even got into, and I'm sure you probably didn't even notice, but I was coaching like tumbling. So I was a
Okay.
tumbling, yeah. So he got me into like tumbling through all his, funny
Mm-hmm.
charismatic moves and stuff like that. Like, so I seen him tumble one time, and I was like, "Yo, let me try this. Let me
Mm-hmm.
see if I can like, do this." To the point where I was like, "Yo," I was just so heavily influenced. I told my dad, I was like, "I want to be a stuntman."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the thing when I was young, and then that's what got me to, get that energy to try new things, like
Mm-hmm.
doing flips and stuff like that. But then as I got older, I was like, dang, them stuntmen, man, they be going,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah,
they
we
be doing
going
some
through
crazy
it.
stuff. So eventually I just started getting good at flipping, and then like that kind of came the way for me as far as like even like coaching and teaching people.
Mm,
I wasn't really getting paid for it. It's just like I just wanted to give people game as far as like just so they didn't have to do the things that I did because I was
mm,
self-taught before I actually had a coach.
okay.
I didn't have a coach until I was in high school. So yeah, and I started when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Whoa. Well, you've been flipping for a minute, from 5 year old to high school. Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it honestly like, and over time, that's what kind of goes into the brand too. Like these are things a lot of people don't really know, and once you really sit down and get to know me, like you'll know there's a lot of ventures I've done. It's
Yeah.
just these are the things that kind of like put me into the position to have more of a stable message for my brand. That's
Mm.
why I say Shinobi. When I was flipping, people used to say, "Oh, this he's the ninja flipping in the air."
Yeah.
And then like over time, it just stuck with me. And then also I kind of like became even more like hungry for it because now like everybody want to be popular.
Yeah.
But for me I wasn't the popular kid, but I kind of really kept to myself. Like honestly, even in elementary, I really kept to myself.
Yeah.
That's why I even probably had the time to kind of like put all those hours into flipping and trying like drawing and doing all this other stuff. So but yeah, I hope I answered your question.
No,
But
you definitely did and gave us more. That I appreciate that, because like just kind of looking at your page, we would never know. You know what I mean? So it feels like we kind of know you a little bit better that now that you just shared that, and you got a sketchbook. You keep a sketchbook on you because I hear you saying you be creating and drawing and stuff.
something crazy like, dang man, the story is that's why I'm saying these stories are elaborate. Because it took a long time before I even really I have definitely to answer your question, I definitely do have sketchbook, but
Mm,
I don't sketch like that anymore.
yeah, I understand.
I'm more a digital artist.
Okay.
But before that, I was doing a lot of painting and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
the paintings they took too long to really try to produce,
I
and it
completely
wasn't something that
understand.
yeah, it wasn't something that like I wanted to mass produce it so it can get to people. As far as like running a business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess that's like really the essence of the brand too, is that the things that you're good at, right?
Hmm.
You could potentially make a way for you, and that can be the lifestyle. That can be the new work schedule that you have or you create for yourself. 'Cause I know
Right.
I feel like right now people have this mentality where they feel stuck,
Yeah.
they feel like they don't have nothing to offer to the world and they kind of like feel lost. Trust me, I definitely feel, moments I'm like, dang, I feel, alone.
Yeah.
But then I gotta remember that, I came a long way,
Yeah.
I definitely came a long way.
For sure.
So,
Hey, same. I had that moment today, honestly, at work. I was like, this can't be the rest of my life.
exactly,
But,
exactly.
it was just a moment. I had to take it in, process it, let it pass. But, have you always been into like streetwear? Or was this something that kind of came along after you started designing? Like, hey, I want to put this on a shirt. I want to put this on a hoodie.
Yeah, I would say I was so I have two older brothers,
Mm,
and I would say they kind of got me into more of the fashion aspect of it.
mm,
Because when I was young, I'm telling you, I was like, I don't want to call myself a nerd, but I was that guy that was just so different. Even
yeah.
from my siblings, I was just so different. I was watching tons of anime. I
Yeah.
felt like the anime was raising me. You know what I'm saying? Like legit. Like I watched Dragon Ball Z, and I felt like it was like everything to me. So
I
yeah.
completely understand.
So, but my brothers, they were into like, the fashion,
Mm,
they like 5, 4 years older than me, but they're into fashion, they were rocking the latest shoes and,
yeah.
stuff like that. And then I remember one day I went to my dad and I was like, hey, dad, can I get, some Jordans or,
Mm,
and he kind of looked at me and he was like, no, you're not getting that. He's like, if you start working and getting it for yourself, then you can get it. And then ever since that day, it kind of like clicked to me, was like, okay, in order for me to get something, I have to like work and do it myself. So eventually, I would say towards high school, because at that time I was wearing my brother's stuff. I was getting heavily influenced in with shoes and clothes and stuff like that.
yeah.
But eventually in high school, I think, bro, I'm talking about wasting money,
Hmm.
spending money. I was buying like shoes every week.
Yeah.
like literally shoes every week because I had got my first job, and my first job was a tumbling coach at an access center. Because in high school I met some, and that's why I said in high school I didn't have a coach until high school.
Yeah.
I had met this dude, his name Carlos. Shout out to Carlos, bro, because
Shout
he
out
put me on.
Carlos.
Yeah, he put me on to Peaches at the time. That's what the facility was named Peaches, School of Dance or something like that in Acro.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking about, like, I was there every day. So,
Mm.
and I was, he was like, yo, he met me in high school. It was my ninth grade year. And he was like, yo, you're pretty good. Why don't you come into like this, the little, school I go to? So I went to the school, and I'm just like, yo, this is dope. It's like-minded people, people who also, love the craft of flipping.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, the owner, Peaches, and my coach, also Paul, they were like, yo, this dude has like mad potential. They were like, what do you think about joining the class, joining the class? And in my head, I was just like, I don't have money for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't have funds for this. I'm young. I probably was like 15,
Mm.
14, something like that. And I'm like, I don't have no money for this.
Right.
And then they were like, no, you'll be on a free, like basically free scholarship. He was
Mm.
like, I'm like, yo, say less. You saying what? All right, cool. So it was me and my homeboy, which is
Mm.
literally like my cousin.
Mm.
And we was on there, and I'm talking about every day. We were there before the class and after the class. So they saw, I guess eventually they saw the dedication that I have for it. I was
Yeah.
there, like even showing people simple moves that I knew, or things that it took me a minute to learn, that I see people was having like difficulties with. But then after that, they were like, "Yo, you here every day, bro? Like, do you want a job?" I'm
Mm.
like, "What? A job? Doing this? Like doing what I actually like to do?
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is life right now. This is crazy. Like, yeah, of course I work." So I was there every day doing that. And then like to the point when, I kid you not, I literally thought I was gonna be like one of them Circus Soleil performers.
Uh,
Yeah, because it was a different love for it.
yeah.
When you're in a room with like-minded people, you kind of like brushing shoulders and like rubbing shoulders and stuff like that. It was a vibe. But
Okay.
eventually, like that kind of like expanded to, hey, like what else I can do with this? And
Mm.
then eventually, I started meeting other kids outside of coaching at the school that I was teaching. I was
Mm.
like, yo, why don't you learn this move, and then kind of like tying back to those kung fu flicks.
Yeah.
I used to watch kung fu flicks all the time, like literally on the weekends, or if a new Jet Li movie came, which I want to say, I don't know if you remember that movie, the one from Jet
Yeah.
with Jet.
Yeah.
Yo,
Was that like we
parallel,
ain't gotta
like the
go into
parallel.
we ain't gotta go into detail, but yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, so yo, that right there, another one. Every time I seen a kung fu flick, it's like it motivated me to go out and actually do stuff.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like, bro, like, I mean, I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. You did. Hey, no, you did. Like I said, you do, and you give us more. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these are subjects that a lot of people, even my audience, don't really know about me. And it's not because like I don't want to tell them or anything like that. It's just that sometimes I try not to come off too overbearing with certain things and mixing up and matching things. But this is why we wanted to do the podcast and stuff like
Yeah.
that, just so you can kind of like get a taste.
Yeah, we support you. We're here for you. So whatever you want to share, we're here for it. I'm glad I get to an insight on who you are. Like even though we just met not too long ago, I starting to get to know you a little bit better, and it's like, oh, I can relate to that. I love kung fu movies too. I actually, as silly as it sounds, I want to be an action star. I just wanted to beat some people up on screen, look cool, you know what I'm saying, get the girl at the end of the movie.
Mm.
Hey, it's still one of them dreams. Like, hey, it's not over yet, but it might not be in the AMC theater. I might have to put might have to put it on Tubi or something.
Nah, for sure. Nah, I mean, shoot, bro. And that's I would say that's the beauty of the brand, because even when people like, oh, what makes you, why ninja? Why shinobi? Why, becoming a master of your craft, and this and this. And I tell you, over the times of trial and error, like mind you, I take into consideration where I came from. I
Mm-hmm.
was tumbling myself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I already had a dedication, and people used to tell me, mind you, I'm about 6'4",
Uh.
and people would be like, "Oh, you're too tall to flip," and this and that, and I felt like that was a challenge, right, for me. It
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I'm too tall. All right, cool. Watch me flip." So I started getting very creative on how I flipped, and to the point where I felt like I was flying at one point, man. Like literally, it was a high. It was a high to me to try to like be in the air,
Yeah,
like a bird.
I
It was like
completely
kind of like
understand.
my escape from, reality of just living the day to day when, being a young kid,
Hmm.
feeling like I couldn't really fit in with certain people just because like I was you know, uh, you know, a person who liked an anime, watched
Yeah.
cartoons all
Oh,
the
I know
time, and
exactly how it was. Anime
you know
was
what I'm saying? Yeah,
not well received back then. I had to hide the fact I liked anime.
yo, legit, true. And honestly, like that's where the fashion came in because when I started wearing clothes and doing all this other, I started getting more popular for that, right? Like wearing
Yeah,
different shit and different things like that.
yeah,
And then it's like everything that I was really good at and really, like I loved passionately,
yeah.
it kind of like took a back seat, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like I was kind of like trying to hide my identity of who
Hmm.
I was and what I actually genuinely liked. So, and just to be cool or fit in.
Yeah,
So, and then eventually, like, it became, a chance for me to recollect and, through trials and through, friendships and, relationships, you start learning a little bit about, like, you ain't got nothing to prove to nobody, you
right.
know? You don't have to fit in just to be accepted. So I would say those key points definitely tie into my brand
Hmm.
because I feel like in today's day and age, we have a lot of like social media, like everyone wants to be, everyone wants to be a celebrity, right? On their
Yeah.
phone. But then they kind of like in order for them to be a celebrity, they have to like sell out a little bit,
Hmm.
kind of like move away from the things that actually make them unique.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, no, no. Like you can't do that. Like I right now at my time, at the age I am right now, it's like I literally promote like do not do that. Like
Yeah.
literally be yourself because eventually you're gonna find real friends, you're gonna find people who really resonate with you, and
Right.
you're gonna find like, an actual, you know, purpose in your life because I feel like the things that you loved when you were young, the things that you did when you were small, those things that kind of took you away from reality just a little bit of, took you away from the matrix, right? I
Yeah.
like I say
Okay.
that thing right there is literally what's gonna propel you to be something in life,
Right.
and then like I said, you're gonna find real friends, you're gonna find people who actually respect you for those things, it might
Yeah.
come off as geeky now, it might come off as a little weird now, but if you continue to stay on your path and like really just lock in, beauty comes out of that. That's why I gave you that story because when I was young, really, it was just me flipping in the front of the yard, and my mom's like she didn't like to watch me flip.
Yeah.
And my dad, I always used to show my dad because my dad kind of like I guess was acceptance of it. He was
Hmm.
like, "Yo, hey, that looked cool, that looked amazing, good job, like, keep going, right?" And then so I had that support from my parents,
Hmm.
and then eventually my mom got on, and she still don't like it, but it became who I was.
Yeah.
After 10 years, you're like, okay, this is just him.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of like gave you that story because it was me learning to do it myself, kind of like staying in my own lane. I like Nipsey Hussle say he like stay in your lane. It's
Yeah.
less traffic, right? But yeah, I stayed in my lane, and then eventually in high school, opportunity came. Some dude seen my talents. He was like, "Yo, come here." And then eventually, other people seen my talents, and then now I was able to join a society and join a literally a class for free, but free of charge. I ain't, while everybody else was paying, I wasn't
Yeah.
paying because not that I wouldn't have wanted to pay. It
Yeah.
was because I didn't, what I'm saying, I was young.
Yeah.
So just letting me be there was cool enough. I didn't, like even if I didn't join the class, I was just like, yo, I'd love to see this.
Yeah.
But then eventually they saw like my talents and they saw like, yo, you got potential. And then they was like, yo, come and join the class. And then eventually they saw the hunger of just me being there every day. They were like, yo, why don't you get you a job? And now you could work and get some money from this stuff. And then
Yeah.
it just like a light bulb just went off in my head. It was like, wow, like if you actually stay the course, do the things you actually enjoy doing, people will, notice and you will get rewarded for it. Yo, KJ, I lost you there.
Sorry. Or got
Oh no,
knocked
you're
out a
good.
little bit. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
But no, I was listening. I heard you. I wanted to say it's just kind of amazing how you go from like doing it for getting the opportunity to do it for free, right? To
Hmm.
them paying you to, teach what you know. But I also, not to get too far away from it, we know you have the Shinobi Craftmaster brand, and everybody has to start somewhere. How was like your first like, oh, I guess your first drop. You know what I'm saying? When you created your first product, whatever. What was your first product, and how did it go? Like selling it for the first time.
So, my first product was with the band, right? With the group Kudo Shinobi, which Kudo means black. It just means black shinobi. At that time, I was like very, just kind of like trying to have an identity of
Mm-hmm.
like, I respect that I am a black person in America, but also, ninjas wear black, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
soon found out that that's not true. Ninjas don't wear black. They wear navy blue because they match the midnight. That's how they
Mm.
are moved unseen.
Yeah.
So, and then now I think Kudo right now, because I still have like, I still rep the Kudo, but to me right now, I think Kudo means like, everyone. So,
Mm-hmm.
everyone united, as far as
Mm-hmm.
black, because it means black, but it's still, for me, it means unity, because that's where it originated from, was the
Yeah.
unity of the group. So I would say my first shirt design was in, what do you say? The drop, my first shirt that I
Yeah.
dropped was with the group. That's why when it did well, I was like, yo, maybe I should be designing because mind you, I'm an artist at heart too.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my, before I even got into flipping, I used to like to draw and do simple stuff. But
Yeah.
then eventually, like, and mind you, like I know I'm rambling right now, but
That's all
mind you,
right.
I had a lot of time to myself. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying. I wasn't the popular kid in elementary. I wasn't. I
Yeah.
had a lot of time to myself. I had a lot of time, like to the point where I used to play with my toys in the room. My mom and dad used to come and check on me, make, hey, you're everything, everything okay?
Yeah.
Been in here for like some hours now. Quiet to yourself. And it was me kind of like role playing and like getting into character and then like kind of like just imagining all those adventures. I used to go with my toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sure, and I feel like the shirts, kind of like resembled that, like that inner child.
Mm-hmm.
But that first drop, man, it was good. But then over time, I was like, what else? Like, what else I can do? Like,
Yeah.
what else? What's the next thing? Even still today, it's like, what else? What's the next thing? Like, because it's like, not that it's never enough, but it's like I know there's so much more that I can do,
Right.
and I've done so much already in the past that like I'm proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
to the point where like my brand is only just to coach people,
Mm-hmm.
really let people know that hey, you're not the only one. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay
Right.
to feel like you're an outcast for now. It's okay to not be accepted by not even your own relatives at the moment. Just keep, being genuine to yourself, but also do the right thing. If you're a bad person, I can't tell you to keep being bad. You know what I mean? But if, reflect on your past, reflect on, on who you want to become, like who's your ideal person is for you. And I feel like that will connect to people's purpose, like what they actually want to, live for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the first shirt it was alright, right? Because it
Yeah.
was like one of the just put my toe in the water and
Yeah.
kind of like if this is something I actually even like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it was well accepted, so and I just kept pushing, kept doing what kept being creative.
Yeah. It was that's so just real quick, like it did well though, right? It did well enough for you to want to continue.
Yeah, like it was to the point
Okay.
where people were like, "Yo, hey, my homeboy got this shirt, bro. Like, you made that? Like, hey, you got more?" And it was, mind you, I only made it was like a friends and family kind of
Yeah.
release. Like, I only wanted to, because it was really supposed to just unify the group
Yeah.
as like we, kind of like our like uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But then people just wanted it. They just was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, let me get this. Like, where can I get this from?" And then I started making more, and then eventually I started getting even more creative, like trying to just create more out of the box stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like even with that, I still needed a direction. Like I still needed to figure out, okay, how am I funnel all the stuff that I know into one simple thing? So I had to, I guess, from moving from that point, I had to pivot from the name Kudo Shinobi because that's what my first shirt name was, and that's what kind of like I was going with the brand.
Yeah.
But then I started moving into Shinobi, okay, Shinobi Craft Master,
Mm-hmm.
becoming a master of your craft. And I felt like that resonated with me because that's who I was anyway.
Yeah.
Just doing something, you want it bad enough, you start to like literally, you start to become a master at it, you
Yeah.
start to understand the ins and out of what you're trying to create. And
Mm.
as a coach at the time, because I didn't stop coaching, that kind of like that first, when I was in high school, they allowed me to be a coach. Mind you, I was like 16. They was like, yo, you want to coach? I'm like, shoot. In my head, I'm like, what do I have to offer to these kids?
Yeah.
But then I saw the trajectory of where I came from, and I was like, you know what? No, I want to help. I want to make sure I can bridge the gap
Mm.
for kids who want it as bad as I did, but that don't have to go through the trials and error of the stuff that I did. It took
Yeah.
me a long time to learn a lot of those moves, but now when I was able to coach it, it was like one and done, like saying a few words just so they can unlock the the focus to really do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because it's a lot of doubt in your head.
I believe it. Even to this day, I have some, but it's got, like you said, got to push through and pretty much make it happen.
For
Now,
sure, man.
now I know you. I know you said a couple of movies and maybe action heroes you were influenced by, but like, were you into video games? Were you influenced by games? I know you said DBZ was an influence, but were there other animes that also influenced you?
Man. So my not the oldest brother, but
Mm.
the one right above me, he loves games. He
Yeah.
grew up, like literally I used to just not play all the games with him, but I would just sit and watch him play games. And I used to
Mm.
love it. It's like, it's kind of like the same concept of me telling stories with my toys and action figures at the time. So I was just like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
So I used to watch him play. There was a before Dragon Ball Z, the actual game came out in the US,
Mm.
it was like a pre-demo of the Budokai Taichi game,
Mm.
and it was like a bootleg Japanese version. I don't even know where he got it from, honestly. But yo, that game, like I was already a fanatic for Dragon Ball Z, so the fact that
Yeah.
I saw the game, I was just like, yo, this is amazing, you know. Seeing all the characters, seeing you being able to manipulate the characters in your own way, and so
Yeah.
eventually like I started playing a lot of like battle games, 1v1 games like Street Fighters, Soul Calibur.
Hey, okay, look at that. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, and
So
I used to
Soul Calibur, so it's so I'm gonna say so unique, but I feel like it's so underrated that not a lot of people talk about it. So when you said it, I'm like, okay, you know this stuff, bro.
know,
Oh, Yoshimitsu, yeah. Oh, Yoshimitsu everywhere.
yo, that dude right there, A1, A1.
Oh yeah, Yoshimitsu's everywhere. He's in Tekken.
Tekken, yeah.
He's in a lot of different references. So Yoshimitsu is not one person, but it's kind of, from my understanding, it's like Yoshimitsu is like a title you earn, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. So let's say 20 years ago, I'm Yoshimitsu. I have a son, and he rise up through the ranks. Now he's Yoshimitsu.
Hmm.
You come through the clan, now you're Yoshimitsu. From my
I
understanding, I could be wrong, but from what I remember, I think that's how it is. Yoshimitsu is a title, and that's why every iteration looks different. So you see him in Tekken 1, 2, 3, or 4, or Soul Calibur, all his
hmm
costumes are always different.
exactly, yeah. Okay,
We're not right, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that, from my understanding, from what I remember, that's what Yoshimitsu was.
interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
But I didn't mean to do
I know
that.
you good, you good. I mean, honestly, like my favorite game is still today. My favorite game is gonna be still Street Fighter. Like that's you know what I'm saying. Like Ryu, Ken,
Yoshimitsu for sure, Griff.
like
Who's your character in Street Fighter?
man, I like the OG Ryu, man.
Ah, okay, you all right, you all right.
Ryu, and then yeah, I like Akuma,
Okay.
but I think like even in Smash Bros, I always
Mm,
go for like Ryu. Like
mm,
granted, Ryu is hard to play with in Smash Bros, especially when you have all these other elite characters.
yeah,
But even me, like I'll get my butt handed to me, and I'll be like, "Nah, let's go again," and I'll
yeah.
find a way to beat you like Ryu. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool moments. But even the game I currently play now, because even I get my daughter into it in
Mm,
Smash Bros. We play Bomberman. What else we do? Mario.
okay.
Such an easy game, especially when you're playing with kids and you're trying to like
Mm,
play with family.
yeah.
Mario Kart.
While it is a family game, it can tear a family apart. It get competitive. I'm just saying, it get competitive
Nah,
sometimes.
it does. It does. Honestly, like it's to the point where people will be like, "Hey, I don't want to play this round with you no more, man."
Yeah,
Like honestly, my daughter, she'd be like, "I want to play this game," and then we'll switch it to Smash Bros. And then she be like, she get whooped a lot in there too because the thing
mm,
is, when I try to teach her, I'm like, "Listen, I'm not gonna take it easy on you.
yeah.
I'm not gonna take it easy on you
You
because I
gotta
want you
earn
to
it.
understand, right? I want you to understand like you got to work for it. So when you get good, I don't want to tell you you're good and you're not, you know?
Yeah,
When you get good and then you can really battle somebody out there other than your dad and people out there,
yeah,
then you can actually gain that title and skill and be like, yo, I actually feel confident that I am better and I am becoming a master at this, right?
right.
I don't take it, yeah, I don't take it easy on her to the point where she be getting frustrated and she be like, oh, I don't want to play this game, let's play another one. And I'm like, mm-mm, you can't be like that. Can't be like that.
Yeah, at least she's willing to keep playing. Mine would be like, I'm not playing. I'm done. I'm like, quitter, quitter.
You know, right? I guess what for my daughter is like even like from she was a baby, I always try to introduce like even like the karate flicks I grew up to because
Hmm.
there was I feel not that I want her to be me, I want her to be herself for
Yeah,
sure. I want her to have her own dreams and aspiration. I don't want to feel like I'm grooming her to be me or
yeah,
like so but I just show her all the things that daddy used to like and grew up
yeah.
watching and the things that that excite me. So I got her on Dragon Ball Z. I got her on like even Naruto,
Mm,
the Smash Bros, of course,
yeah,
Street Fighter. So those games I kind of like try to build her character because that helped me build my character.
right.
It made me feel like I can keep pushing and going, even though sometimes I get whooped and I'm like, nah, I gotta keep going again. I gotta keep going again. It's to the point
Yeah.
where I was getting beat. Yo, shout out to Tim. That's my
Shout
brother-in-law.
shout out
My wife's
Tim.
brother. Yo, he used to beat me a lot to the point where I used to be like, nah, I ain't giving up, man. Let's run it again. Let's run it again. And then like literally he'll have like a hundred rounds and I had probably like one. All I needed was that one. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I guess, even with games, I have that determination to try to like keep pushing and keep doing and keep getting better at it.
yeah. Okay. Now I completely understand. I'm the same way. I just what I like, my kids just kind of gravitate to it, and just kind of share that bond, that experience. Because I had my dad share it with me as well.
Though,
Just a funny story. Because one time I was chilling, and my youngest, she hugged me, and she was like, "Daddy, you're strong." I was like, "Thank you." She was like, "Stronger than Goku," and I was like, "All right, now, okay, okay."
yeah,
It just touched such a spot in me because I was like, first of all, I didn't know she knew who Goku was, and second of all, why
crazy.
would you say that randomly? You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, all right, all right.
Yo, those are powerful words, man. I would use those. I'll put that on as badge of honor, like legit.
I definitely do. I made a TikTok about it and everything. I was like, somebody got to hear this.
No, yeah, I hear that.
But
Shoot, that's
But like as far as your brand, do you like put any like deeper meanings or hidden references inside of it? Like for maybe people that have been rocking with you since the beginning? Like, maybe something in plain sight or maybe just a little nuance here or something that maybe like an OG fan would know.
yeah. Those are so even the Drunken Master shirts have reference in the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
I have the Gundam one have reference with those. I have an anime t-shirt too that also have the reference of the origination of where the origin of anime came from. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like even that, like people don't really know. So, but yeah, every shirt, every design I create for my brand, even if I don't know in full context and full detail of what it is, I also, I allow myself to do research because ain't
Hmm.
nobody know everything, right?
Right.
I allow myself to kind of like step back and be like, all right, cool. What else can I add to the shirt that's going to be a little bit more and enticing for people to kind of like gravitate to? Because I know a lot my shirts have a lot of like words in it, and people be like,
Hmm.
I want that design, I want that design. But sometimes you can't get the full picture of a design. You can at some points, but you really can't. And I want my shirts to last more than just a mere image of what a
Yeah.
face value, right? So I want people to wear my products and shirts and stuff like that and understand that the bigger message, like I want them to kind of like every time they get a chance to wear the shirt, they catch something new on it. That's a message or hidden a motivational quote, like these things are literally like those Gundam anime in general, the Kung Fu era, like those
Mm,
things kind of like brought me to where I am right now, where I can be a little bit level-headed and be able to sit down and kind of like explain like in full detail, like, look, you ain't gotta be that person to be great. You just need to be yourself because
right.
that's the originator. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly,
Mm-hmm.
when you know when God put us here, he ain't just leave us with nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like with no talents. Like we have gifts, man. We just need to really understand how to really unlock it and use it.
Yeah.
And that's literally all my shirts, try to like promote is just like unison within yourself, being comfortable in your own skin, not trying to be like everybody else, trying to finding acceptance within yourself because you'd be surprised when you can accept yourself for who you are, you're well received from the people around you. Like
Right.
even the people who might not even like the things that you like. I've learned this a long time ago too. There's people who probably didn't even watch anime like I was watching. But just because I was able to be comfortable with flipping anime, all that stuff, just because you didn't have the similarities or you probably didn't know about it like that, I guess they kind of seen that authenticity that I try to push in the brand.
Yeah.
And they were like, yo, I like this person. I like this dude. You know what I'm saying? He's just being himself, like, and it wasn't me trying to like fit in or like trying to be cool or anything like that. Of course, in high school, I try to for sure you try to be cool, but that don't take you that don't take you
It,
too far.
it don't. That's why a lot of people peak in high school.
Exactly. Exactly. No,
That's
that's
why. That's why I be
that's a
trying
whole
to tell
nother
my
story.
oldest. Yeah, no, you're right. That's why I be trying to tell my oldest. Be yourself. A lot of
Be
these people
yourself for
they gonna
sure.
peak in high school, and when you get out of high school some years later, you gonna look back and they gonna
Mm-hmm.
still, hey, all right now,
You're gonna be trying to relive your high school
yeah,
days. It's
yeah,
like,
bro,
you
get
know,
a job.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, it's like be yourself and be original because there's no one like you, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest takeaway I want to push in my brand. There's no one
Mm-hmm.
like you. There's no one that's ever gonna be like you unless you're trying to be somebody else because everyone's could be somebody else. So then you're all just gonna be having the copycat jutsu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If you want to be original, you gotta really stay in your lane. And that's why I watch every animation I've watched, every kung fu flick, every like they always was meditating. They always had like that time to themselves,
yeah.
which also unlocked a lot of like potential. I mean, Naruto went through it. Goku did it. One Piece was a little different, because that's why I feel like even kind of like jumping on the One Piece wagon because I got into One Piece a little later,
Yeah.
but I think Luffy he was just different. Like he just built it like any other anime he's built. He's kind of like Goku in a sense
Mm,
where he's kind of like ditzy, but I guess Naruto would be in the same field. He's kind of clumsy too, but Naruto and Luffy and Goku, them dudes right there was no doubt in their head that they were gonna be that dude. They
yeah.
was gonna be that like the powerful, like literally Luffy still to this day he's like I'm gonna be king of the pirates. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Naruto, I'm gonna be Hokage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like literally Goku, he will go looking for people to fight. You know what I'm saying? To get stronger.
Yeah. People stronger than him.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It was like for him it was like a friendly battle or a competition until he met Frieza.
Yeah.
Frieza was the only vicious animal that turned Goku into Super Saiyan
Yeah.
because when he
Krillin.
killed I think Krillin, yeah,
Yeah, it's
he blew up
Krillin.
Krillin. It was a done deal. Homie's eyes went white. He literally just blacked out.
Mm-hmm.
He blacked out and turned Super Saiyan. And to me, that was like so powerful too because it kind of like showed the bond of friendship and just protecting other people.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's like kind of moving into my brand. Like I kind of want to do that. That's why I always try to get people and put people on and
Mm-hmm.
give people game. Not that I know everything, but there's things that like you could take the smallest information even from your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
your kids will tell you something you probably didn't even to think twice about. You was like,
Yeah.
yo, I didn't even think like that. But dang,
Yeah.
you brought a new perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah, man, you can learn from any place.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
literally
never too old to learn.
messages in the shirt. Yeah.
I know you're well, we know you're on social media. Pretty much everybody is, but like how has growing the brand in social media, has it how has it been going for you? Have you found things that work easier for you? Have you found like it's kind of a struggle to kind of get this going? Like how has social media been going working with how has social media been with your
Yeah.
brand? I'm sorry. I couldn't get the
No, you
words
good.
together.
I would say like it's still a test. It's still a learning curve. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like not that like there's always room for improvement. There's
mm,
always a way to stand out and be unique. I
yeah.
think right now I'm trying to like kind of like add those skits where I could kind of like be myself or add those funny moments with my
Yeah.
wife and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean it works. It's just you have to, like I said, you have to literally stick in a lane and that's you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So there's a lot of influencers that I look at and I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if I did this and did that. And it's just like, okay, how can I make that resonate with the brand? And
Right.
then sometimes it's like it works, and then sometimes it's like I think I'm kind of like shooting too far, or I'm trying to like move in a different direction than the actual brand's messaging.
Yeah.
So I always feel like if I stay true to myself, I always just kind of like be unique in my own way. I feel
Mm,
like I can get more praise for that, just for being me,
yeah.
than me trying to like, create something that people just want to do and love.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just to kind of answer your question, it's like it's still going, man. Like I'm
Mm,
still learning. I'm still trying to like, get better. I'm still tweaking, still trying
yeah.
to like just kind of like put my find my traction. That way I can find, my people that really resonate with me,
Right.
which I do have my people I love, for those who do have my product and, who rock with me, I appreciate mad the appreciation. I definitely, appreciate that because there's sometimes even with that, I create a design and then I'm like, dang, maybe people won't like it. And then I be in my own head a lot.
I completely understand. I'm the same way. I'm not very good at social media. I just have
Yeah. Yeah.
media, so I'm listening to you. I'm trying to take some tips from you.
Yeah.
I even saw your skit when you had the straw hat on. It was like
Yeah.
it's time to go, and I was like, ah, you see?
But something crazy? I had that idea a while back. It's just that I be in my own head like, oh, should I do something like this? And people won't really like me or not want to mess with my brand now. I don't want to tarnish the brand's name and this and that. But it's like, no, like you gotta be you. And
Right.
honestly, I grew up just like that. That's 100% me. And I feel like right now that's what I'm trying to like, like even me coming on here, it was and I appreciate you for having
Of
me.
course, of course. I saw your
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, I love his art. I love the designs. I just want to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of want to pick his brain and see what he was thinking, how would he come up with it. And you was like, you might have been top three fastest people that have ever gotten back to me for real. And I was
Wow.
like, man, I just appreciate the opportunity. Then you was like, I got something for you. I was like, ah. I was
Yeah.
like, ah. I ain't gonna lie. When you said I was super hype, I was like, you ain't got to, but I definitely appreciate it because I've been wearing this shirt for like the past 30 minutes and I love it. I got the
No.
other one right here. I was gonna show it later, but I got the other one
Okay.
right here and I got the stickers. I was gonna show it later, but I definitely appreciate you coming on more than anything, and
No, for sure,
also
man.
just thank you for the gear, man, for real.
No, you good, man. Honestly, it's like, yeah, I sell those clothes, but it's still a product. It's still just material, right? What I want to push with the brand is not just material. These are
Mm-hmm.
all, yeah, designs. They can be, fabricated. They can be, replicated, whatever the case is. But that's why those words on the shirt,
Mm-hmm.
the characters I use, those are all symbolic to, the brand's essence of of who I am, a little bit of me and who I grew up to become.
Right.
So yeah, it's all love, man. Honestly, like I try to give back and like do things like this, bro, because I feel like I want to see you win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally want to see you win. I want to see you out there, doing more interviews with, with who knows, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Top celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Like the sky's the limit, you know what I mean?
for
And
sure.
my dad always told me that he was like you and I always used to like kind of like get mad at my dad. I always be like, why are you not acceptance of like those like for instance, I used to draw something, right? And he'd be like, this looks good, but what else can you do? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And then, and I'll show him a flip. He'd be like, I like it, but what else? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It was like more. What else can you do? Like it
Hmm.
was like never enough for him. And then I didn't learn until I became a dad and became, you know what I'm saying, a little more wiser that he just wanted the best for me. He just
Right.
wanted to show me that there was no limitations and I only put the limitations on myself, you know? So, because in my head I'm like, yo, this is the best I think I'm ever going to create, you
Yeah.
know? And then he's like, no, no, you're gonna do more stuff. You just gotta
Yeah.
like really continue to go, you know, push yourself.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's why I kind of like subconsciously kind of like had that in my head to just do more. Like even right
Yeah.
now, my daughter, she's intelligent. You know, she's
Mm.
way smarter than I was. I'm sure your kids are way smarter than you were when you were
Hey
younger too.
man, they be blowing my mind sometimes. I'm like, how you know that?
Exactly. Kids are sponge, man. And honestly,
Yeah.
like just looking at them and being able to like be in the position that I'm right now to kind of like, you know, give back to people and also like give knowledge to people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
creating this brand, it's not just for me, it's for my kids. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I want to leave a legacy, rather if they want to be in this business or not. It's still something like they can look at and be like, dang, I remember, you know, grandpa, he started that, you
Yeah.
know, Shinobi Craftmaster, you know, now it's right. So yeah, it's beyond me. That's what I want to say. As far as the brand, it's really beyond me. It's just a
Yeah.
mindset. It's just a mindset I want to unlock in everyone. Because when
Yeah.
I was coaching, my last job, I was coaching at this place called Ninja Lounge. How ironic, right?
Yeah.
It's called Ninja Lounge, where ninjas lounge, right? And it was a trampoline park, and I was a coach there. It was a part-time thing, and I was just doing it, and I kind of just got back into the love of doing it, like actually seeing the kids' faces like transform when
Mm.
they thought they couldn't do something, and then all they needed was a little push, all they needed was guidance, all they needed was, you know, just a little bit of someone in their corner to let them know that they can do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like their whole mindset just shift, where
Yeah.
now they had this confidence, now they were like they kind of walked with their head up,
Yeah.
and I just saw the transformation I was giving to people, and I just wanted to kind of like just continue giving that to the world. Really, that's why I created the brand Shinobi Craftmaster. It's like, and that's why I kind of go back to it's a product, right? But it's
Mm.
also messaging. Like that's if I want anyone to take away from any of my designs, yeah, they're cool. You know, they're kind of like nostalgic to the era I was in when I grew up in the '90s. But yo, it's really the message. The message is key. Become a master of who you are. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know, so
Looking at it, I also in my mind like, he did something. He had an idea, he had a dream, he had a goal, whatever. He took that and he actually made something. I say that to say that's kind of how I was with this podcast, not to make it about me.
no, no, you did, bro.
My goal was when I first started, I kept putting it off. And maybe later, ain't nobody gonna watch it, blah blah blah. And what really tipped it for me was I asked my dad would he come on, and he said, "Yeah." I was like, I told him what it was about. It's mostly catered to video game. Would you come on, share gaming, then blah blah blah? But he passed away before I started it, and so my goal for starting it was gone. I was like, well, I can't talk to him no more. So I'm like, I gotta do it. There's no way I said I was gonna do all this and I'm not gonna do it. And so I do it, and now my kids see, hey, my dad said he was gonna do something. He said he's gonna create something. He's got this and he does this, and I think it's cool. And I hope it inspires them to do something, go after something they want as well,
Yeah, bro.
because because it's like, well, my dad did it. I know somebody personally that I can talk to, that I can get my hands on, that can at least give me some kind of guidance to how to just starting something,
Yeah,
something I believe in, something I want to accomplish. Hearing your message about Shinobi Craft Master, it just like really resonated in my heart. Like, yeah, just being myself, talking to people that I feel, we just met kind of, I feel like in a sense kind of aligned. We're kind of into the same things. We kind of got same interests. So you're chill, I'm chill, and we just kind of connecting on just, things that we did growing up. Like, I have nothing to do with tumbling. I used to wish I could flip.
yeah. But
You know?
that's the beauty of life, right? Like you can do anything you really like want to, bro. Like, and that's the thing, like that key point where you was like, hey, I'm gonna do this, not just For me, I want to be able to show my kids, like when I say I'm gonna do something, I follow through,
Yeah.
because that right there speaks volume on just your character alone.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, bruh, like you don't know how much people actually have similarities with each other. They just
Yeah.
don't show themselves. They don't really
Yeah.
be the true themselves, you know? So just showing that and being able to like, be uniquely you, even if like let's say like honestly, bro, like forget all social media, forget like how much followers you have, forget
Yeah.
how anyone has. It's beyond followers, man. It's who you are as in this real world like we live in.
Mm.
And I feel like so much people are trying to be staged on who they are. And it's just like, no, you need to do the opposite thing. You need to be who you need to be genuinely yourself, not for
Yeah.
the likes or rates or anything like that. Like even for me, right? I don't get that much like crazy, likes on social media.
Yeah. Same.
That doesn't dictate on who I am and what I want
Facts.
to continue to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I know eventually how people minds work. Once you really start picking up momentum, that's when they're gonna jump on. That's when they're gonna be like, "Oh, he wasn't playing when he said he was really about to do this." You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And then you give them an opportunity to jump on board and be like, "Look, hey, I've been waiting for you guys." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're
Definitely.
here now.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because I've had more people that I met online like yourself that have just liked or shared a post versus people I see in real life, like family.
Same thing, bro. Like legit.
I don't even
Same.
hold it. Listen, you'll wish LeBron a happy birthday, but you'll ignore everything I got going on. So I'm like, it's fine. It's like I'm not holding it against you, but just know when this ship take off, I know who's gonna be on the ship. I know who's
Right.
gonna have a ticket
Yeah.
to get on.
Let me tell you something. In order for you to become a master at something, and this is a quote, I don't know who said it, but it was like, are you going to be, who would you be scared of? A person that learned 1,000 tricks one time, or a
Mm,
person that practiced one trick 1,000 times?
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
one move 1,000 times. It's the same concept. It's so basically what I'm trying to say is that if you just stay in your lane, bro, it's going to pick up. Trust
yeah,
me. It's gonna because people gonna know that you're not lying about this. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And that's kind of like what I want to show people too. Like, like there's so much time where I wanted to just stop doing Shinobi Craftmaster. Where I was just like, this is not it. You know what I'm saying? Like clearly I'm not getting the recognition that I would hope for. But then
Mm,
I think of all the people that I will be doing disservice if I stop doing this, right? And it's like
mm,
all those people who actually need, that little pep talk to really just stay in their own lane and not feel alone. Because there's times, bro, there's times where I felt alone in life. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And then I had to really like kind of like find that solitude to really just be unauthentically, and then I end up finding the most amazing people when I did that. Like when I was just being me, the coolest people I'll meet, like yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yo,
Appreciate
like
that.
you know what I'm saying? You hit me up and you were like,
Yeah,
yo, hey, come on my podcast. Mind you, to me, I didn't say, hey, oh, well, he don't have this criteria to have this to me to be one. And it's
no,
like, no,
definitely. I've hit that before. I've had people that were like, "Well, you gonna pay me?" I'm like, "Bro, I have 5 followers. How could I possibly pay you? I literally just started, but like I
exactly.
said, that's why I'm like, I appreciate you helping build this bond, this relationship because I might get an opportunity that I could put you onto. Like, hey, I got a homie that blah blah blah. You should check him out. Give him a ring. He might have something you can work with. Hey, it could just change the trajectory of both our lives.
Exactly, because you never know who you're gonna meet. You never
True.
know who, because I forgot who said this. I think it was Will Smith, right? He
Mm,
said this. He was like, do not burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. Because his mom used to say you're gonna have to go back. I think his grandma used to tell him you're gonna have to go back to those places, and
mm,
he never really understood what that meant until he got older, and it was like, oh, don't burn bridges, because what
mm,
ended up happening that because he was an adult and he could be like, oh, I don't want to mess with you, kid, you're a kid, you're a child,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have nothing I can, offer me. But eventually that kid is going to be a business owner. That kid
yeah,
is going to be somebody else. Eventually that could open up doors for you. So it's always good
mm-hmm,
to be kind to everybody.
yeah,
Everybody. Don't sit up in this world thinking that you above and beyond than anyone else. Like, no, no. Trust me, doors is always going to close on you because you think that you're waiting for this, elite person to come and pick you up. And it's like, no, the person that's probably gonna pick you up is the person that you didn't think much of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The person who put you on game is the person that you probably was like, you know what? What does he really have to offer me? And it's like, no, don't think about what he has to offer you. What can you offer that person? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like what my brand is about is kind of like doing service, doing, a service for people.
Hmm.
Like even, me jumping on here, bro, like this is I saw what you were doing, and I'm like, this is beautiful. This is something that if you don't have listen, you don't have that much people on you right now, but soon, trust me, mark my words, you're gonna be big, bro. And
I
it ain't
appreciate it.
because no, you are, bro. I just say stay in your lane. I tell this to everybody, bro. Stay in your lane. You're gonna be somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
what people don't like, and I feel like what people, tend to do, they kind of flip flop. They kind of,
Hmm.
like, I want to do this, but then they get the
Yeah.
wrong person in their ear telling them that, oh, but you can't do this. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
can't. You won't ever, succeed at this. And it's just like what people do is that they push their own belief, their own what they
Insecurities and
think
stuff.
they what they think they can do on you,
Hmm.
and it's like, no, I'm not you. Just because you think you can't do it doesn't mean I can't, I can't do it. And that's
Right.
why I kind of like said the thing with the flipping, because there was a bunch of people who was like, oh, you too big to flip. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, watch me, you know. So, and I kind of it's the same thing with it right now. It's like, yeah, oh, Shinobi Craftmaster. It's very childish. It's very this and that. It's like, listen, I'm a kid then. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Legit. I speak to my inner child because I feel like that's the purest part of me. You know what I'm saying? Like I
For
feel like,
sure.
yeah, that like when you look at your kids, you're like, yo, they are pure. Like literally,
Hmm.
they have no outside influence of trying to fit in or trying to, get talked down to. Like,
Yeah.
and of course in life, as they get older, even my kids, they're gonna run into those things where, not everyone's gonna like you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then you gotta learn how to be okay with that. You gotta learn how
Yeah.
to just keep it going and be like, all right, well, cool. Then that means that if you don't like who I genuinely am, then that means that we shouldn't be correlating with each other. We shouldn't be talking, you know?
Facts. That's a. I don't want to deviate too much because I like where the conversation was going, but I want to ask you a little bit more about the brand and just
No,
kind
no,
of,
you can
while it's on my mind, because I be I get to rapping. And
same. No,
have you ever had a design like or anything that flopped, and like what did you kind of learn from it? Whatever flopping means to you, like maybe it didn't sell well, or people didn't receive the design well, or the product well.
yeah, there's been designs where like I've either made a design because I liked it, in which I try to continue doing the things that I like genuinely too, but then I'm like, I like it, so everyone else is gonna like it. And it's like not everybody's gonna like what you like, my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I had to kind of understand that. So I had did this was probably my second shirt that I did. And it was like I don't. It was like a group image of the Kudo, Shinobi of my
Hmm.
my band, but in cartoon form, right? And it was like it was dope, but not everyone like gravitated around it,
Hmm.
And I was just like, dang, it's kind of like, it kind of was a little
Yeah,
off-putting,
I understand.
But eventually years passed, and then I started showing it to a new like not well, I guess new group of people,
Hmm.
and they were like, yo, this is dope. So it kind of made me think like there was a saying, I don't know who said it, but it was a saying, it was like you have to go where you are valued,
Mm.
right? Because
Yeah.
think about it like this. A person sells water, right? At a vending machine, right? You pay, whatever, a dollar or something for it, right?
Hmm.
A person sells water at on a street corner. You pay probably a dollar for it, or at a school, you pay a dollar for it. But let alone let a water be sold in the airport. How much
Whoop.
that water
That's $5 at the minimum right
at
there.
minimum? Literally, spend about $10 on water. You know what I'm saying? But does that stop people from buying it?
Not at all.
Not at all. It's placement, product placement. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing is, for instance, it was a saying like this. Father, he gave his daughter this like old school Mustang, right? It was a classic Mustang, and it was a little rundown, but it was a good popular model for the people who know, right? So she took that car. He was like, well, go ahead and take that car to the dealership and see how much you can get for it. And then he was like, take it here and see how much you can get for it. And then she came back with the numbers, and she was like, well, they only offering this much. They only offering this much. And then he was like, all right, cool. All right, now go and take the car to an actual car meet. You know what I'm saying? A people. a audience who actually like cars. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Who actually
Yeah.
know the history of cars. How about them people were like shown like praise. They were like, yo, this is a classic. This is old school.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get this nowhere else. Like
Yeah.
now the car's going for top dollar and all this other stuff. And it would just make me think it was like another concept of product placement. You can't be liked by everybody, like you can't. You have to find your crew, your clique, and
Right.
trust me, you're gonna flourish. You are gonna flourish when you find those people. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So just because it didn't work out now for the design I created on that shirt, trust me, there's gonna be people who actually like what I do. And I
Yeah.
just and over time and trials and error, that's what I'm trying to like work on and really find that audience who really gonna no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts, and really just rock with me and understand like, okay, this is this is actually good stuff. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because what I try to do, and I'm sure, and that's why like your peoples and even my people, they'd be like, oh, that's all right. You know what I'm saying? And I'd
Hmm.
be like, and for me, it was like I was taking it. Oh dang, they don't like my stuff. Oh, maybe it's trash. Even my art, I
Hmm.
was like, maybe it's trash. But it's like, huh. And you find people who actually appreciate the art you're doing, whether if it's anime or whatever you're doing, and they're like, yo, this is actually the best thing I've seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just makes me think like, okay, even if my people don't really, resonate with what I'm doing now, I know there's people out there who do. So I can't just stop what I'm doing just because the people that I'm trying to force to like my thing doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like you have to find your audience. I appreciate your stuff. That's why I say
Hmm.
keep doing what you're doing, even if the wave is like, people are not
Yeah.
really jumping on.
Yeah.
But eventually, trust me, the authenticity in who you are and what you're trying to create,
Yeah.
it's gonna set waves. For now, everyone else is gonna look at you and be like, "Dang, I want to do what he doing."
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, you're absolutely right. I just that's all I can be is myself, right?
Exactly.
It was something I wanted to do. And I took the jump. Probably much like yourselves, like it was something I wanted to do. I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
Do you have any like do you I don't know if you do collabs or if you would want to do one, but if you did, do you have any dream collabs you would want to do?
Oh man, dream collabs. Yeah, I would. There's a ton of like collabs I would like to do. I mean, I'm not a huge Nike fan, but if they
Mm,
ask me, "Yo, you want to do something?" I'm
mm.
in. You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
boy.
If Adidas If Adidas asks me, hey, look, hey, we want you to design this product, I'm jumping on it because one, I really resonate with Adidas. I like, what they about, and I love their clothing too.
Mm,
And then also like Stussy. Stussy is another like old, like a
yeah,
90s vintage kind of like a brand that definitely it had its own era. It was its own thing. It wasn't cool kids who was wearing Stussy at the time. It was
yeah,
really mostly like skaters and like
yeah.
who just had something unique to offer. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I was to compare my brand to anyone, it would probably be Stussy, just because like I like where they at and like they still be themselves. Like they're
Yeah,
in their own lane.
yeah. Would you get into like making like slides and socks and sneakers like that? Is that I don't know if that's your hat, but I guess you could throw that into it as well. Like is that like
Actually, it
it?
is
Oh,
my yeah.
okay.
So yeah, this is I want to say prototype. This was something I was working on,
Mm-hmm.
but then I didn't get it to the like how I wanted it on all
Mm-hmm.
the hats and consistency.
Yeah.
So basically, I know the camera's backwards, but it says mass study, and it's a Japanese that means mastery, and I use it on a lot of other my clothing too.
I might have give you one of those. I just
Nah, hey,
Eh,
sure. I mean, I don't have it on the website for
no,
sale,
that's
but
all right.
shoot,
I mean, hey, just whenever you put it up there, let me know. I'm coming to get me one. No, I
nah, for
like
sure, bro.
that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm actually gonna make this in brown.
Mm,
This is because, like, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is another product that it wasn't received the best, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh
I
no,
feel
you got
like,
they didn't see it right. They don't see it how you got
nah,
to put that back up there. Huh? They tripping.
nah, for sure. Nah, for sure, bro. Like honestly, like, and that's why it's like you never know who you meet, man. You're gonna meet people who actually like really like what you're doing, and
Mm,
that's what I'm trying to like kind of weave through. Because there's people who like, oh, I like you, I like what you're doing, and it'll probably be because like maybe for me, I try to come official as much as possible,
yeah,
even like to like my shirts and packaging, right? I
yeah.
try to keep very professional because
Mm,
over time, people were like, "Oh, if you're gonna, take this serious, you gotta really put in the work and do this stuff."
Right.
And I'm like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm not shy about putting in the work, and I want to go above and beyond. That's why I give people the discounts. I give them the sticker packs. I try to make it and dress it up nice. So there was no weariness of like, well, is it official or is it not official? Can I trust this brand and this and that? It's like, no, man. I'm gonna give you shoot down to the quality of the shirt. I'm gonna give you the
Yeah.
best.
No, the quality is top notch. I can tell you that much. The quality
I
is top
appreciate.
notch. It's really, I feel like at that point, it's just them not wanting to support because, like, you got the quality, you got the designs, you even give little goodies in there like the sticker pack and stuff.
And the
So it's,
pins.
yeah, man, those pins are rare. I don't see a lot of people do that. So that's why, like, when you posted them, I was like, man, and they and gold too. Hey, gold just do it for me, you
Nah,
know. But no, like it's just like I just love seeing creative people be creative, and when they do something you can put your hands on, or like something you can wear, and and they're proud of it. I ain't got no choice but to be proud of it too. You know what I mean? So
exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's facts. Like that's literally all I try to create. And I know people it's taking them a while to jump on, but listen, I'm only gonna continue to give people the best product, whether
yeah,
they wearing my stuff now or they decide to wear it later.
hey,
You
they
know?
better get it now.
Exactly.
They
No, for
better get it
sure.
now before they start before the resellers get to it.
I'm
If
telling you,
you're paying
legit.
$400 for a shirt, they'll pay it. But hey, you could have got it.
Legit. Trust me. I try to give people and honestly that's could be the thing too, where it's a little weary from people. People like, oh, um it's like a weird thing for reverse psychology, like with money, right? It's like if you put something at a low price for people, it's like it kind of value it as, oh, it's not
It's like cheap.
the quality is not
Yeah.
good,
Okay.
right? But it's like but then when you put the price at an actual price that you think your products is at, it's like, oh, he's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's stush. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, no, man. It's like you don't understand how much time and effort goes into each
Yeah.
product, like down to the freaking fabric of the clothes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more to like I don't want to give people something that I wouldn't put on my body. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Down to even the hat. I would, if I'm not wearing it, I don't want to give you a facade and make it look like this is the hottest trend that's going around. No, I
Right.
like, if I'm wearing it, it's because I like it, not because
Mm-hmm.
it's the biggest fad going around. So, yeah, man, just continue to go into being your authentic self and then making sure that when you do anything, do it to your best ability.
No, for sure. That's as my homie in the chat, sir, would say.
Is not,
Today's
yeah.
price is not yesterday's price. So you better get it while it's today's price. Because once I get where I'm going, you gonna really be mad. You thought it was expensive today. Wait
Mhm.
until wait.
And then listen, I would tell anybody, even your fans, my fans, I would tell them this, like, if you're skeptical about any of my designs, any of my products that I put out or I'm wearing or anything like that, listen, go get a sticker pack. Down to the sticker pack, I don't cheap out on the product. Like literally, I have a this is one of a newer bottle that I had did a video for, but I have my water bottle. It's not in the room with me now, but I'm talking about like it's dishwasher safe,
Yeah.
heat resistance, and when you take it off, the sticker off, it doesn't leave the no sticky residue. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like even details as small as that, I try to like give people prestigious like quality products. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like I don't skimp nowhere. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like you're not just representing, you're not trying to make a dollar, right? I'm not just trying to make a dollar. I'm trying to leave an impression for people. I'm trying to gear people in a direction where it's like, yo, maybe you've been spending $200 for a product, and you're like, yo, this is the best thing I think I'm wearing until you
Mm.
wear something that I've created, and you're
Yeah.
like, yo, actually, it wasn't even probably that much expensive. It's like, dang,
Yeah.
this is actually really good stuff. So it just shows people like mindset of one's kind of like stop trying to be into the trends of like the newest wave of things, which is cool, don't get me
Mm.
wrong, like those things they came up from the bottom to get where they at, so I don't knock them for that, but they still are doing mass production. They're still doing like right now I'm still like being able to see all the products before I even put them out. Like you can see in my closet, I mean
Yeah.
my room, I have all the products here. I can
Yeah.
do quality check, you know what I'm saying, before I actually send these products out. So you're only gonna get the best of the
Yeah.
best. There's times where, one thing hasn't been the best. Like, there's stuff like that that's kind of fell between the
Hmm.
grooves, but eventually I always try to show compensation. If there's something that you didn't like when you paid for me, you bought from me, I'm always gonna be like, all right, cool, here you go. You can have this just so I can show you that it's not just about the money. It's more about like, moving you in the right direction to
Yeah.
being your authentic self. And that's what I don't want people to forget. Even when you wear my product, don't think about, this is well, the quality's great. Like, yeah, the quality's great, but it's the messaging too.
Hmm.
It's in its name, becoming a master, Shinobi Craft Master is becoming a master of every aspect. My dad always told me this. He was like, if you do anything, always give 110.
Hmm.
Because even if you're working at McDonald's, you're working for anybody, act like you're working for yourself and give 110 because you never know who's watching you.
Hmm.
And then I learned later on, I heard this another quote. It was like, a person that does if you do a person, let me see how it goes. A person that do one thing one way,
Hmm.
that's how they do anything, right?
Yeah.
You do one thing one way, you're gonna do. That's how you're gonna do everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's like if even down to the stickers. If I'm gonna create something, it has to be the best quality. You know
Right.
what I'm saying, like these are vinyl die cut stickers,
Hmm.
waterproof, heat resistance. I mean, it could go on. I just even on a simple product of stickers, like mind you, people, they might see it and leave it somewhere and then forget about it. But
Yeah.
when you do like kind of recognize the quality, then you're gonna be like, dang, this person actually really sat there and put the time in.
You I forget, you as you talk about like not just the quality and the messaging, I also think you had to put money behind your idea. So you're not just trying to put money behind the cheapest thing you can get, because you're not gonna get nothing back from it. you
Exactly.
know so I don't think people take into consideration. They just think, oh, all this stuff fell out the sky. It's like, no, I had to work, I had to build up some revenue, I had to test it myself, make sure I liked it, make sure it did well for me, so
Right.
I can get it out there to people. So that way
Right.
you can come back and feel safe spending your dollar with me, knowing, hey, I'm going to get not
The
only
best.
a good messaging, but also a good product racked up into that messaging. So my dollar is not just, oh, it's a cool shirt, it's a cool inspirational shirt. Maybe that shirt was what I needed today. That message, or maybe that shirt was what somebody behind me in the store needed today. Hey, where'd you get that? Where'd you get
Exactly.
that Drunken Master shirt? The homie Shinobi Mastercraft, blah blah blah. Here's the IG, do do do. If I'm part of the brand ambassador program, use that code,
Right.
and
Yeah, legit.
it's
And
just
it's crazy.
something simple like that.
It's crazy you mentioned the like in Publix or being in the grocery store and someone saying something like literally 2 days ago. I was wearing the Drunken Master shirt and somebody he kind of was like standing in front of me and he was like he was standing he kind of like just turned around and kept looking and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like "Hey, wait." I'm like what is it like what is it like and then he just I guess decided to say it and he was just like yo I like that shirt like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't even ask me where I got it from he just was like yo that's a dope shirt
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like "Oh, thanks, man I actually created the shirt and he was
Mm-hmm.
just like what really like you did this and it just kind of like go back to what you're saying you never like people see the quality, people see this stuff, in real time, and they be like, yo, I like this stuff, and they kind of be like, yo, I want it now because now they see people wearing it, they see it's like recognition. You
Yeah.
only like for me, it kind of it did something to me, you know what I'm saying when he did that because it's like, dang, sometimes I'll be down in my own creation sometimes, bro, but
I
then I need
understand.
I need those, hey, that's actually really dope. Like everyone needs it too, Like I've
Yeah.
been telling my wife, I was like, sometimes I need someone to tell me, hey, I'm doing good, you're doing the right things, keep going, keep pushing. Even for myself, I need pep talks, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the one giving the pep talks and being able to uplift people. And I need it for myself sometimes. So yeah, man. So
Okay. I
it's
wanna
beautiful.
uh I wanna bring it on home with this one.
Yeah.
Because we've been rapping for a while. So
No, no, for
don't
sure.
this not gonna be your last time here. I just want to put that out there now. But
For sure. For sure.
what does Shinobi? I'm new. I'm here. What does I want to get into Shinobi Craftmaster? I'm not saying you got to convince me, but what does Shinobi Craft Master mean to me as somebody that's never heard it, that's never seen it, that's just it just caught my attention. What does Shinobi Craft Master mean to you?
Man, it's a to me, what does it mean to me? It's for me to kind of like bring
Like,
you along.
yeah, just like not trying to sell me, but like just the brand as a as a whole. What does Shinobi Craft Master mean?
And I mean, like it really is in the name, and I try to like I say these in different scenarios in different ways. Like my wife is tired of me from like just saying this countless of times. But it really just is becoming a master of yourself. And and I feel like when people hear that, they're like, "Oh, master of myself." Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm supposed to be, I'm a master at one thing that in particular, and it's like, no, it's more broad in the sense where you have to be one. I want you to find who you are as a person, right? Find that individual, that inner child you have. You know, don't don't exclude yourself from the world because you have something that you don't see other people have. If anything, that means that you have greatness, that you have the voice that someone out there is also waiting for someone to hear, for them to come out and be like, dang, you know what? I can be my authentic self. I can, let people know I like anime or I mean, anime, liking anime now is a cool thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're cool if you like anime.
Yeah,
But back in the day, that wasn't the case. You know
not
what I'm
at
saying?
all.
So even gaming, you know what I'm saying? Like people like, oh, I don't want to talk about this because, I'm with people like, shoot, if you around people who don't like what you like, sometimes you just gotta move and find the people you actually who do like what you like, and move in that direction. But I think for the most, I would say for my brand and what it means and what I want people to take away is just do the best you can at whatever you're good at. Don't give up. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't say, well, he say, she say, I'm not gonna be.
Oh,
Oh, your phone?
I don't know what. This might be my work phone. That's crazy. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. So definitely what I would say with that is just kind of like be your authentic self. Don't care about what other people think. Just try to find what you're really good at. And honestly, those things that you're really, really good at is those things you probably thought about when you were a child.
Right.
Those creations, those ideas, those ventures you wanted to do. Take a chance on yourself to be you, and you're always going to be rewarded for being yourself. Trust me. And that's why I gave you that story of when I was learning how to be a self-taught flipper down to now I'm able to get paid coaching somebody. You know what I'm saying? Actually, like, which is mind-boggling because if you would ask me when I was learning, struggling in the streets how to flip, was
Mm-hmm.
I going to be someone's coach?
Yeah.
I would have told you, yo, not in this world. You know what I'm saying? But it happened. It happened because I really stayed true to who I was, and I was like unapologetic of who like I wanted to show people that I am. And yeah, like just be your authentic self and become a master of your own identity. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the master comes in. It's not that, oh, I'm supposed to become the greatest seafood of what I'm doing. It's like no, like there's always gonna be someone better than you
Mm-hmm.
in whatever craft you pick up, but they won't be you.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's where the master part comes from. It comes from that just being yourself. Like if you become yourself, you will already be a master at you. You know what I'm saying? Only one person can be a master at
Right.
yourself. Listen, life, time and time again, people come and people go, you know? So I feel like we were put on this earth to do more than just work a day to day, feeling stressed out at the job. Like we ain't getting heard at a place and now, my boss doesn't really treat me the way I treat my company, the way I
Mm-hmm.
work here is not like represented in how much I get paid here. And it's just like there's a lot of lost translation in what people think they should and shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess I'm here to say, be yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Find something that you actually really resonate with, even if it's the smallest thing, and find a way to make a way, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would
Hey.
leave it with that,
Hey, Shinobi Craftmaster, everybody. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. Do not let this be your last time coming on. You're family now.
No, I appreciate that,
Of
bro. I really
course,
do.
of course. Everybody, thank you for joining. You guys be blessed and prosperous, and we will catch you next time.
Definitely.